can bet you that every second family has an alcoholic or a drug user. I can bet you that everybody knows an alcoholic or a drug abuser. I can bet you that so many people don't want to acknowledge that fact. Nobody wants to know that their loved one is suffering from alcoholism. Is it a sickness, really? Is it a sickness, or is it somebody who just wants to have fun, who wants to shrug responsibility and live a life of their own, disregarding everybody else? Nobody knows for sure what causes alcoholism. There is, however, growing clinical evidence suggesting that alcoholics process alcohol in a manner different from non-alcoholic drinkers. Alcoholism is present when the drinking person no longer controls the intended intake. When, where, what, and how much one drinks frequently is unpredictable. Alcoholism is present when someone continues to drink even though drinking may destroy a marriage, ruin a family, cause the loss of a job, or land one in jail. The cycle of an alcoholic's drinking is the same. Pain, drink, temporary release, pain, more drinking. Eventually, ignorance of the difference between alcoholism and willful drunkenness is joined with overpowering shame, which then creates a wall of denial for those who live with the alcoholic. This is not happening to him. He's an elder in the church. She's the chairperson of the school's PTA. He does so much for the community. Denial is fostered because alcoholic behavior is not constant. There may be periods, even long periods of sobriety. During these relatively calm times, the alcoholic and his family feel it is best to forget the episodes of abusive drinking. It was just a bad time for Onyango. Wanjiru was upset by something. Surely by now Kamau has learned to limit his drinking to 1 or 2 drinks. It won't happen again. Thank God that's all behind us. Unfortunately, it isn't behind them. Alcoholism doesn't just go away. One day, for no apparent reason, seemingly without external provocation, the alcoholic loses control. Usually though, this happens because the alcoholic fails to recognize his unique powerlessness over alcohol. When this happens, fragile hopes the family had built up are smashed. Guilt, anger, rage, bitterness, pride, confusion, and a great deal of other damaging emotions and the consequences resurface with greater intensity than ever. The battle against the prejudices of ignorance will eventually be won, but it will not happen overnight. It may take years for society to slough off the myths and misconceptions concerning alcoholism that have governed thought for centuries, but it will happen. Every recovered alcoholic adds fuel to the fire of this movement forward. Here now are the stories of 2 people who have learned to live with the chaos and madness of having to live with an alcoholic in their lives and how they cope. We hope you will gather strength from them. Karibu.
When you see somebody who has taken changa, there is nothing good that you can see from him. You will only see interference from him, falling down, meaning he cannot now walk stable. He'll now just talk anyhow, speaking nasty words.
pombe. Pombe ni kitu ambacho ukikitumia vizuri sio kitu kibaya. Lakini unapata kuona jamaa ndiyo senti ziko. Jamaa yuende wakamata ndiyo ako na warembo, ako na marafiki zake sawa, yeye yanunua yanunuliwa. Lakini swali ni kwamba kuna maana gani unaenda kulewa, unakamata kama ni chupa zako 20, sijui wengine wanajisifu wakinwa 15. Kuna sifa gani ukinwa chupa 15? Ili hali ukitoka pale hujioni mbele wala nyuma.
I live in an alcoholic. I've lived in an alcoholic for the past 20 years. And I can't say it's anything that I've got used to doing. It's not an easy life. It's a totally unpredictable way of life. Living with an alcoholic, you never know what the next day brings. One moment you could be really happy, things could be going real well. One moment he's really happy, he's a really good person, the person you've ever known, you've known all your life, the person, the way you met in the first place. Then the next minute he's taken a drink and he's turned into somebody totally different, a stranger whom you've never known. And this unpredictable kind of lifestyle totally unsettles the household.
Drugs have an effect called the psychic effect. That the minute you start taking a certain drug, either changa or buza or even cigarette or bangi, there is a fear of stopping and there is an urge to continue taking. That's a psychic effect. On the other side, there is the tolerance effect. This tolerance goes very simple. You are taking one beer to be satisfied, to get to a certain level. Tomorrow you got to take 2, then 3. You now continue adding to get the same effect. When you add the psychic effect and the tolerance effect, you form a vicious cycle which now starts driving the person. It reaches a stage, that psychic effect, that tolerance, you are still going up, that's technical, reaches a stage where you cannot anymore now do without it. You are now dependent. From that minute on, the minute you reach there, you either are caught up and you are locked up by government officers or corporation, or you are rehabilitated, and it's an expensive damn thing to do a rehabilitation. Definitely is not less than 3 or 6 months of time.
Our treatment method is a drug-free approach where we use no drugs. And our approach is a 12-step program, which is actually based on the AA or NA programs, which have helped so many people who had been thought hopeless from their drug use. The problem we have with the drugs is based on our use of leisure time. Unless we plan to use our leisure time in a way that does not revolve around the drug use, we are not going to come out of the problem. Because the problem we have during our leisure time is to dine, wine, and dance.
We parents, especially mothers, we should stop self-denial. Because when you come and tell me that my child was seeing somewhere drink chana, I will throw you away and say you are interfering in my house. Yet the child is getting spoiled.
So the disease concept is based on 2 areas of the human body. One, on the body is an allergy. The allergy in the body would always ensure a craving once this person takes any drug. If any drug, if he chose alcohol, he chose heroin, and so on and so on. Once he takes it, the allergy ensures a craving, so he would continue using it. And the other area of the disease is based in the mind. There is an obsession in the mind that would only see positive results from usage. For example, an alcoholic lies in the along the road or by the side of the road, sleeps there the whole day, wakes up, goes home. He doesn't see that as a bad thing. He would say, only praise how strong stuff he took. So he would say that that is a strong stuff, he must go for it. He will not see anything negative about it. So we want this person to understand that his problem is in his body and in his mind. And the only mistake he has done, or where he went wrong, was to make a wrong choice of using this drug.
When I was born, my father used to drink, and therefore I started to see the effects of drinking. He used to take a lot of changa, and therefore I started to see the effect of changa as far as from my childhood. My father would go to work, then he work for the whole of the month. Then when it reaches a month end, he goes to collect salary. You'll find that he'll collect the salary. He'll not come back straight in the home. He'll branch to the club where they drink, and he might drink. Sometimes he used to drink there and get drunk, and people get into his pocket, they snatch him money. Then he comes back in the home without even a single cent. And mark you find that there are some credits my mother need to settle, and he was waiting for this salary. Then you find out that it is month end, there is no money, no way they can meet these credits, and it used to be a very big disaster.
When we talk about this problem of addiction as a disease, we notice that not many people are aware of that. Because of the social stigma affiliated to this problem, many people are in denial because nobody wants to be identified with an addict. Yeah? Because if you're an alcoholic, people will just call you this bloody drunkard. There's nothing he or she can do in their life. If you're a drug addict, they will say that you have so many problems. So nobody wants actually to be associated as an addict. And that's part of the problem that we are facing today. We want to tell the world that addiction is a disease and it's nobody's fault that you fall sick. However, it's your responsibility to do something about your disease once you notice that you're sick.
I'm glad I realized that alcoholism is a disease. It's really important that we all do realize that it is a sickness and that alcoholic needs help just like any other sick person. And the people who surround the alcoholic also need to understand all the points about how to deal with an alcoholic, how to live with an alcoholic, how not to be an enabler. Because in so many ways we actually enable the alcoholic to carry on. We actually encourage him in ways that we don't even realize. Living an alcoholic is so hard. The demands that are made upon you are so extreme. You have to give in sometimes so you at least have a bit of breathing space for yourself. You end up parting with money just to have a bit of peace. You end up looking for that person. If that person is sick, you have to look after that person as if you're the one who's drinking. If they land in debt, you'll have to pay the debts. So those are things we got to learn not to